little confused on what to do about this one. This is a Mary Sue article, but it's not, it's a new person. Okay, it's a new person we haven't seen before on Mary Sue. So I don't know if this person is going to be as weird as some of the other ones that we've seen on the Mary Sue. Some of the ones who are just outright mailbag. I wonder if they've changed it. I wonder if they've gotten rid of some of these people. Hello, everyone. I am Mecha Random 42, your favorite YouTube harpy. And yes, I do have the writing crop just in case. And I think I might need it here in a bit. A spirited defense of Star Trek The Next Generation's Deanna Troi. All right. I've skimmed through this, and you see another tab open. You do see another tab open here. When I was a little girl watching Star Trek Next Generation reruns with my father, Deanna Troi was one of my favorite characters because she was very pretty, very kind, like a princess in space. She was very pretty and very kind. Yeah, yes, she was. Okay, I'll give you that. That's sometimes all it takes for little girls. See, I always loved Garrick though. But that was more teenage me. As I grew up into a fully fledged nerd, I continued to think Troi was the coolest, but I found out that an awful lot of people disagree with me incredibly passionately on the topic. Troi is one of those untimely characters. Wow, I could read today. That has the misfortune to be critiqued by both feminists and anti-feminists alike for being girly, weak, and useless. On the one hand, being over-sexualized, underwritten, and problematic on the other. Right, people want to pick on the character, right? So far, I'm kind of agreeing. So far, I'm going to defend her femininity. I'm going to defend the character's femininity. My problem, which you'll see in a minute, is with disagreeing with some of these actors, as you do. That has been one of the things that I've noticed about me, is that I can disagree with a lot of these actors about some things, and I can agree about some other things without making threats to them, like some people who are in the Star Trek community who well, just check out any of my videos about Shatner recently, which you're probably here because of that. And thank you. Welcome new people. A lot of these critiques are valid. Troi was originally envisioned by Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry as having 3 or 4 breasts. Thankfully, he was stopped by a longtime Trek writer and savior DC Fontana, who pointed out that A, is not sexy, and B, how are you going to arrange those? See, stop in her words. And here's the thing. Having 3 or 4 breasts on a character would be probably fine if you had like the right padding where you're going to put them. That's the other way you're going to put them. I can just see it as being like a special bra that they would build. Is that the right choice? Yeah, I think it's probably the right choice to not have a 3 or 4 breasted alien. I'm okay with the cleavage. I mean, I would hope that somebody like me who does use whatever I have, because I'm comfortable in my skin like this. I'm comfortable, right? And that's a lot of the point, is like a lot of these actresses, if they weren't comfortable doing things, they wouldn't. Like Marina Sirtis, she's gone naked on movies. She's been nude in movies. That's one of the first things I remember as a Star Trek nerd, was getting with the other Star Trek nerds and like, oh, did you see Deanna Troi naked? Did you see her? Yeah, we've seen them. That's the thing. We've seen them. I honestly believe you will offend most women and maybe a lot of men with this character. Besides, how are you going to arrange those 4 provocatively shaped breasts? 4 in a row? They better be small. 2 banks of 2? Yeah, you don't know how much the trouble women have with the normal number keeping them out of the way of things. See, and DC Fontana being one of those really well-respected science fiction writers, despite, and I kind of appreciate the time that she came from, where she did want to just say, no, I'm letting my work speak for itself. I don't want to be judged as a woman, so I'm just going to not let people know that I am a woman, I'm just going to shorten the initials to DC, and I'm going to... That is one of the things I do have a great deal of admiration for, that her work speaks volumes. And it just says a lot of how far we've come, that you don't have to hide the fact that you're a woman as a science fiction writer, or as a writer in general. You don't have to hide these facts. You can still do what you want. We're beyond this, in my opinion. I think we're beyond a lot of this, despite what a lot of media says, despite what a lot of media tells us. Because look at what's going on with Star Wars. They will tell you all the time that it is about, oh, you just hate the politics of it. You hate women. No. With Star Wars, and I think that's going to be my next video. I can think of like 20 things wrong with the men in Star Wars too, these new ones. It's the new characters that I have a problem with. And same thing in Star Trek. Same thing in Star Trek is the new characters that are not very well written. In Discovery, anytime a man does something, they're just completely treated like crap, especially the existing established male characters. And female characters don't do really that much either in Star Wars, now that you come to think of it. Nobody really does anything. It's just a lot of people falling down. Same thing in Star Trek lately. Star Trek, I'm going off the rails. We're going to rant for a second. Star Trek, just the writing has been so abysmal. It's just a lot of people telling Michael Burnham how wonderful she is, despite the fact that she's not, that she screws up constantly. But that's beside the point. We're talking about this article. Being saved from this terrible, and I can't stress enough, terrible idea to not save Troi from being relegated to the eye candy of the show. Marina Sirtis was forced into... was she forced or was she paid handsomely and comfortable with that, right? Because I've seen her outside the show, and she wears mini skirts, she wears short skirts and low-cut dresses, and she is a very comfortable, strong woman. She might be a little misguided, but she's very outspoken and strong-minded and strong-willed. And very strong-willed. We was forced into the clinging low neckline of the non-uniform outfits. Corsets is what she called the industrial-strength Starfleet regulation brassiere, which she expressed some magnificently shady dissatisfaction with later. Yes, later, much later. They did put her in uniform after a while, which was fine. It's like, why was she not in it anyway? But you still have to kind of go with the times. You still have to kind of go with the... She was an actress who took her clothes off to be in movies. I mean, I'm not saying that this is necessarily a good or a bad thing, but it's like showing up to be a stripper and saying, I don't want to take my clothes off, right? You kind of understand where things are. It'd be like me saying, I want to be a YouTuber, but I don't want to talk on camera. It's one of those things, it's one of those things. It's like, well, do you really want to actually do this, or do you just want to complain and be an activist, right? That's the other thing. Unfortunately, what happens if the girls have cleavage? They cannot have a brain because the two don't go together. So when I got the gray spacesuit and got cleavage, all of my gray matter departed. That was a shame. That's not true. That is really, really not true. Deanna was the heart. She was kind of the conscience of the show in a lot of ways. She was always that person that Picard would confer with, or I think people do underestimate her. Because Troi was not supposed to be the chick of the show. Gene says that she was intended to be the brains of the Enterprise, which you would never know from watching it. She was supposed to have the equal intelligence of Spock. Well, see, she could sense emotions, and one of the problems is that, it's an ensemble cast. You can't dedicate every single episode to every single character as well. So when the cleavage came, all that left, and I became decorative like a potted palm on the bridge. That is not the case. That is not the case, and you know it. Deanna was such a valued member of the crew. But I guess people are just revisionists. They just don't care. And yeah, she's sexy to look at. And same thing with 7 of 9. Same thing with T'Pol, Subcommander Hottie. Yes, you have the eye candy on the show. We had male eye candy too for some of these series, How many women were so in love with Jean-Luc Picard? That's human nature. Every series is going to have some sort of eye candy, unless it's Discovery, then Tilly becomes the eye candy because you kind of go with the hottest thing. That's how people work. We see people and we're like, how can we mate with that person? That's evolution. That's biology. Most things that people do are to impress somebody, even in their subconscious, for mating or any of that stuff. This is why people groom themselves. This is why people, comb their hair and do that. Oh, Lord. Many of the writers confessed they found Troi's character and empathetic powers too difficult to work with, and they often wrote her out of the scenes and episodes, despite admitting that Sirtis had the range as an actress to do much more. When she didn't get her own episodes, they mainly revolved around, or when she did, they revolved around skeezy love interests, rape metaphors, and of course, forced alien pregnancy plot lines. Yeah, they could have had stronger writing for her sometimes, but here's the thing, though. I think being offended for something that happened 20 years ago is a little bit past that. And what can we do? Well, we can learn from that. Yikes is the word. Despite all that, I refuse to let my love for Troi go. Women, people of color, and other marginalized oh fuck, often get used to watching the show through a kind of double vision, appreciating its attempts at depicting a better, bolder future, while also painfully aware of the mainly sexist. No. Had I known this was going to turn into a right here, now we got to pull out the rant. It's not, though. You've got to keep in context the time. The amount of people they're writing for. Not every episode is going to be Drumhead. Not every episode is going to be Measure of a Man. Sometimes you're going to have people or characters that... What massive storylines did Geordi have? He got kidnapped by Klingons. Right? Oh, he was a mama's boy or something. He couldn't live up to his mother, who was the captain. Was that one of his... Oh, he fell in love with a holodeck program. Come on. Stupid, useless romance plot lines for Geordi as well. We didn't get any deep, hard-hitting stuff with Geordi. We didn't really even get any deep, hard-hitting interracial sort of commentary until Deep Space Nine. And that was years later because we were supposed to be past all that. We are supposed to be past the point where we care about the stupid, superficial shit. So now I see why you're writing for the Mary Sue. I was going to give you the benefit of the doubt because I hadn't seen your name before. All right. Mainly racist, sexist, and homophobic hurdles it trips over along the way. No, it doesn't. You stupid. Just because they're not bashing every white male doesn't mean they failed. You admit you watched it in reruns as a little kid. You don't get the time. It was written in. You don't get the time period of how progressive things are. Change doesn't happen overnight. And these fucking people think that it does. They think that you're just going to have everybody represented and everybody's going to be perfect and every character is going to be perfect. And that's boring. And then we get Mary Sue characters like the website because they don't understand. You cannot show any advancement. You can't show any progression. You cannot take Troi in the titty outfits and then later show her in the uniform in these people's minds because they don't understand how the show was progressing as we were progressing with times. These people. With that in mind, let's re-examine Deanna Troi, sex-positive, self-care, mental health queen. Oh, she hates fans, too, by the way, from what I'm seeing. Or at least she hates nerds. She takes the shot at nerds here. I don't even want to read the rest of this article. I don't want to read this or give them a hate click. Here's the thing. Okay, now I gotta censor real quick. I gotta reset. We gotta censor something here. Because when we get over here... Oh yes, Marina Sirtis, about a month ago, last April. The culture of male chauvinism in the gaming industry is abhorrent. You have to remember a lot of these guys were the nerds who never got a date in high school. See, you would think somebody who has dealt with nerds for 30-some years would know that you don't bash nerds, right? Because this person says, "Hey Marina, any words of encouragement from women in the games industry?" Right? What I would say is, hey, do your best. Keep personal politics out of it, and try and don't argue with your customers. Don't fight your customers. That would be the thing I would tell people, right? But no, she says the culture of male chauvinism in the game industry is abhorrent. You have to remember a lot of these guys were nerds who never got a date in high school. Be like me when the haters pounce. Ignore them. Water off a duck's back. Also, I've got my subscriber notifications on. Sorry about that. We're getting subs. But thank you. I appreciate you guys subscribing. So, of course, I respond. And I responded last April without a death threat, mind you. I can actually disagree with Star Trek actors without threatening them. So she says, "Yes, I love you, but didn't those nerds make you a legend? Sure, Trek is now for the bullies who used to stuff us in lockers, but I'm a geek gamer, sex symbol, and strong woman. I grew up on equality. Nice sentiment about ignoring the haters, but I gotta stand up for my nerds. And at the end of the day, we gotta kind of stand up for each other and stop bashing each other so damn much. It gets old. Like these young people who get offended at everything, they forget how society works. You know, you don't change everything overnight. You take little steps at that, and then you take like 20 backwards with, oh, nerds never got a date in high school. Really? I've seen your tits, all right? And you have the nerve to be like, oh no, I didn't want to be in the corset. Oh yeah, but but you got to do what you got to do to be an actress in Hollywood. And is that fair? No. Is that something that people kind of understand? Yeah, that's something I know. It's the same thing. It's why I wear cleavage shirts on the thumbnails, because I want you guys to notice me. It's kind of why I have bright red hair and I'm not hiding off camera, right? Because I want you guys to notice. I want you guys to click on me. And that's all the Mary Sue's doing too. They just want to spew out this hatred and this so misguided. And this wasn't even a bad article until I started hearing the same little stupid buzzwords that people recite over and over again because they're so used to hearing them. You know, they're used to hearing sexist, racist, blah 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 blah. Also, shout out to Skull One for being in the thread here. Oh Lord, another awesome follower here. It was us male nerds that kept the next generation alive after its bad first season. And here, I disagree. It wasn't a bad first season. That is a whole nother video. The last time I do have a rant I've been sitting on for a couple of weeks now. I thought it was a little too brutal. Do you guys want me to go into that rant? Because that gets more into the propaganda behind this whole sentiment that the first season of Next Generation was bad. But no, at the end of the day, you gotta kind of remember, it's all equality and stuff. It's all about, for me anyway, it's all about the equality, and it's all about, it's all about actually progressing and actually doing what we can to realize that nobody is ever put on this planet perfect. You don't come out perfect. You don't start out life knowing everything, being and saying and doing absolutely everything you need to do. And if we're still at this point years and years and years later that we can't fix even the smallest stuff, I don't know what hope we have for society. But you know what, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep trying. And if I gotta whip out the riding crop and say, hey, stop the sexist bullshit, hey, stop bashing your fans and followers, and stop the generalizations of people, then I gotta do it. So thank you so much for watching. I am Mecha Random 42. You can find me at P.O. Box 1566, Loveland, Colorado 80539, or on Midnight's Edge After Dark, on live streams, videos, or wherever. Bye! Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!